Namaskaram everyone. Welcome to my channel Living Consciously. So today we are going to have a conversation with Pragnya. So today's episode is also very special to me because she was my roommate in Hatha Yoga Classical Teacher Training in 2019. So it is very special because we have shared the room together, talked so much, so many times. But still, there are so many things that I don't know about her. And today we will be trying to understand her journey in Isha. So let's start with that. Namaskaram, Pagnya. How are you?
Namaskaram, Payal.
Thank you so much for accepting this and doing the podcast with me.
Thank you, thank you. This is a pleasure. It's feels so good that you're doing so many podcasts with Hatha Yoga teachers, and um, that way people can get to know how the Hatha Yoga teacher training has helped and how transformative it was.
So we will start with an introduction. So why don't you introduce yourself? Like, what do you do? Your educational background, your family members, and where do you stay? So we can start with that.
Okay. I stay in currently I'm staying in San Jose, California. But I was born and brought up in Visakhapatnam in South India. When it comes to my educational background, I did bachelor's and master's in electrical engineering. I'm also a trained Kuchipudi dancer. So after I worked for a while. After my master's, I worked for a while, for a few years. After that, I came for teacher training. After I finished my teacher training, I became a full-time teacher and classical dancer.
What about
My
your siblings and you're married, right? So you can talk about that also.
yeah. So my husband, my husband is a software engineer here in California. He is also from South India. My parents live in South India. My brother is living in Bangalore. I have an elder brother. Um, he's a mechanical engineer and has his own firm related to construction business. Yeah.
Great, great. So how was your childhood? How was you as a child?
As a child, I was very calm going, very shy, very obedient kind of a child. Um, Most of my childhood, so I started learning classical dance, Kuchipudi at the age of maybe 7 years, something. I started. So my childhood is mostly, studying, coming home, and then going for a dance class and performing on weekends and going for competitions, performances, and then school, home. This was my childhood mostly. Um, yeah, it was really nice. I enjoyed it a lot. But I was a little introvert and very shy child. I didn't have like many friends, but only few friends, few close friends. That's how I used to be. Yeah.
So you were interested in the dancing or your mother wanted you to pursue that?
So I was too young to be even interested or I didn't even yeah, I had no idea about it. Just my parents took me to the dance class, so that's how I started out. Yeah, initially after learning for a few years, I guess we kept learning. After a few years, we were like getting bored. Me and my other kid, we were getting bored, and we were like. Um, then my teacher started, teaching more new things and taking us out for performances and other things, stage performances. And then that started getting more interesting. But it's not like I was not very passionate about it, or I really, was really like, interested about it. But as I grew up, I took a break. During my high school, I took a break from dance and I got more into studies. And after a while, I started realizing like that I'm missing out something like really important, valuable in my life. And then that's when like I started becoming really passionate about it. That's when I really understood the value of it. As long as I was continuously dancing as a kid, I didn't really realize that much. But later on, it became a really strong passion as I grew up and really felt like something was really missing out. And that's when I started becoming more passionate about it and started pursuing it like really with my own interest.
So you are now like a certified dancer, like there must be some levels and everything, right? So you have completed and cleared everything and you can teach. Right.
No, there is no, yeah, there are levels and I won't say levels, but there are certain certifications like just like how you get a graduate degree. There are degrees and certifications in dance too that you can pursue. Um, but I didn't. I should say maybe I didn't have an opportunity, or maybe it just happened that I got busy just learning dance after. So I had a break for a while, and again when I started off, I was all. I started back again like proper learning regular classes after pursuing my masters. After I started working, that's when I started back again like properly with regular classes. And it's been like 4 or 5 years now. I started again. After I started again, I've been become busy in like improving my stamina and again learning dance and correcting my postures and all those things. I didn't really um, look towards the certification and other things. It's become more of passion and just love dancing every day, like more of a profession. Yeah, I'm not looking at it as a profession right now, so I didn't really go towards you know certification or anything. Um, yeah, I learned quite some years, but I don't think I'm still ready to teach it or anything. Yeah, it takes a different kind of knowledge, and I think it takes a few more years for me to actually think about teaching. Yeah.
So what is dance for you, means? What do you get out of it, or is it a way to express or something? Because classical dance is more about a song which is saying, depicting some story, and so beautiful postures and actions you do to express that. So for you, what is dance now, and how do you apply it when you are angry, joyful, or So
Uh, so um, dance is something like real involvement for me, and I should say it's just madness. Just madness. Like I really, really love it so much. Like it's just happy. Like it's a very happy and it's full of joy and a very blissful experience for me when I dance. And a lot of involvement. It needs a lot of body mind coordination, and you need to be like really conscious when you're doing it. You need to really involve yourself. Only then something really nice comes out of it. So and even if your body is paining and all that, in a way, it may be hard, but it's, at the end of the day, it's a very joyful and, beautiful experience to dance. Yeah. So just like
so
it out for it, madness for it. Yeah, I can't imagine stopping it or not doing it. Can't imagine that at all. Like, just want to dancing, just like, keeps me forget about everything and just like, focus on something like full energy.
So you did an engineering, right? And then you did a master degree. So you did masters in what? Sorry, I forgot it when you said in the introduction. Sorry?
Masters in electrical engineering.
Okay, okay. So how was that experience for you? Like, why did you choose for like post graduation and everything?
Uh, so after I finished my undergrad degree, um, I started working for a software company. Um, so I worked for I worked for 1 year or so. And after that, I felt like I'm not like really interested in this software job. I wanted to try something different. My core was electrical engineering, so I thought maybe I should, again further pursue an electrical engineering and see if something would really interest me. Um, Nanotechnology and VLSI was kind of really interesting for me. So I thought I'll go for masters and see if I'll be really interested in that. Yeah, I think all my studies part or like all my life I've been like trying out different things to see what really fits me in. I was not staying in a single field for, like really consistent time. I was always trying to see if something, what would really make me feel fulfilling and what job like really I would love to do. I was always trying to explore. So masters was also one of my, attempt to explore if I would be really interested in, nanotechnology or VLSI, that would like, really give me a fulfilling experience. Yeah, again, after masters, I started working in the field of VLSI, but after a year or so, I found that even that is not really fulfilling, you know, even that initially it used to be fine, all the excitement used to be there. But as I go on, as I keep, like, as days pass by and as I start working in the same field, somehow like the excitement used to come down and it will still feel like there is some gap, there is some void that was always there. But immediately after I finished my undergrad, I wanted to go for teacher training back then. So I felt I really had like this longing and it really drawed my attention. Like when I came to know the teacher training is happening and, you'll have the opportunity to share Hatha Yoga with people. That was so exciting and it felt like this is it, this is what I really want. But unfortunately, it was hard to convince my parents, or at that time, I didn't have the necessary support, or yeah, to go for the training. So I ended up
And
trying.
when was this? In which year you were trying to do that?
Which 2013, I should say. Yeah, 2013.
2013. I
Yeah.
think 2012 is the first batch of Hatha Yoga teacher training.
2012 was the first batch. I actually applied and got into it, but yeah, it was hard to convince my parents, and it was hard to, yeah, I at least they gave it a thought, but they had their own fears and misconceptions and all that. So it was hard to convince them, and even I was not earning, I had no financial support at all. I had a job offer, but I've just graduated. I told like, um, there are two options. I can accept the offer, or I can go for teacher training. I wanted to go for teacher training very much. Um, but yeah, I didn't have any financial support or anything. Because I just graduated, no one can even give me a loan. I tried that too. So yeah, but I couldn't make it. Then okay, I thought right now at least this is not possible for me. Maybe in future I'll think about it. And I started exploring other things. I took the job offer, worked for the job. That didn't fulfill me, and then I thought I'll go for masters and see if that is going to fulfill me. Maybe I can like finally be an electrical engineer, work in that field, and think that yeah, this is my passion. But I think yeah, I just kept deceiving myself that maybe this could be your passion. Just go with it, just try and see. Maybe you can do this. This can fulfill you. Yeah, but after masters, I got a job. Again, like after 1 or 2 years, again, like I'm like, no, this is not for me. I want to go for teacher training. And like the passion just reached a saturation point where like I really, really wanted to go. And yeah, at that point, um,
So before, like I know that uh, you have shared with me that you have wrote a letter at the first time in 2013 when you were trying to apply. Your father told that give me the reason, like why do you want to go and like that, and then they have shown it to their guru. someone spiritual, like is it the right reasons to go to the teacher training? So do you want to share about that? It is, I think I find it's very interesting.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm really surprised that at least my father gave it a thought, because most parents won't, will be like, have a job offer, what are you talking? You're telling you're going to go somewhere and learn yoga for 6 months, like randomly, like, yeah. But at least he gave it a thought. He like, I'm like really passionate about it. I'm like, I really want to go. This is something very important for me and all that I'm saying. So he's like, okay, at least write down why you want to go. Write it down, and he thought he'll show it to some priest and some elderly person who can give him some guidance or taking a decision for me. So I was writing the letter, like I'm like, so I before that I used to read, look at Osho's videos and read his books, and I had some idea on spirituality, and I just did my inner engineering too. In 2012, I did my inner engineering. So exploring other dimensions of life, and going beyond your physical limitations and experiencing something beyond that, and really understanding what, or experiencing what the source of creation is, and look, all these things are, that's what made me very passionate about this, or about the training. Like, I thought the training is like a wonderful opportunity for me to grow spiritually, and physically, mentally, or whatever, like to grow in every way, and to also share these tools with everyone. Like, um, that felt like a dream. Like, it's like I couldn't believe, like, Sadhguru is even trusting in us, like, and giving us this opportunity to share such profound science or profound tools. So that felt like an amazing opportunity for me. I can't even describe in words. So that's what I kept writing, and as I was writing that, how much I really want to, uh, explore, and know what the source of creation is and what it is, as I that that longing to know. As I was writing, I was full of tears. I was writing and writing. I wrote 2 pages or whatever I wrote, and when my dad showed it to some priest or something, they were like, "You're gonna send her now? I don't think she'll have a family life or anything like that." Yeah. So they had their own fears, social fears and all those things. And the priest also added to that. And their misconceptions and all that they had. They were imagining, like, I'm going to take some sannyas or something. They were imagining all those things. And the priest also added very well to that. Decided not to send me. Yeah, that's what happened back then.
So then you met your husband on your post graduation?
Yeah, after my post graduation, when I moved to San Jose to work here, that's where I met him. Yeah. And yeah, and yeah, we talked to each other, and yeah, we got to know each other in a few months, and then we got married. Yeah, and after marriage, again, I talked to him about my interest about going to the training. Yeah, like, after, I was not exactly planning to go to training, but after I started working, yeah, that's exactly the same time when I started working too. A few months back, I started working, and after that, I got married, and it's been a year, or yeah, it's been a year or so after I started working, and that's when again I started feeling like this is not for me. Again, I started feeling like this is not really fulfilling me. Something needs to happen, and again my mind started going, longing to do the training. Still, my mind started, the longing was there again, and reached a kind of saturation that I really, really wanted to go to the training, really wanted to become a teacher. That's like, yeah, life didn't make any sense to me unless I explored it in that way. Yeah. It's when I started expressing it to him, and yeah.
So in 2012, you did inner engineering. So how did that happen to you?
So my brother told, like, introduced me to Sadhguru and showed his videos and told about this inner engineering program where Sadhguru is offering a wonderful tool uh, to actually explore higher dimensions. Yeah, just like a 30-minute practice that can like change your life so drastically, can transform you in ways that you can't imagine. And yeah, that's how yeah, my brother told that he's offering this tool in form of inner engineering. Yeah, me and my brother were like, we were very much influenced with Osho's videos and all those things he was talking about. We were passionate about that, but we thought it would be really nice to have a live guru, proper live guru. Like Osha is there, but he was not there at that time, right? Like he was past guru, he was gone by then. So we were like it would be really nice to have someone live guru. We can actually, we can. He's actually going to give us the right kind of tools and guidance to explore in this direction. And we came to know about Sadhguru and his videos, and felt like, this is like a wonderful opportunity to explore. Yeah. So in 2012, when I was doing my internship in Bangalore, yeah, I think that's my last year of undergrad. I was doing internship in Bangalore, and I went for inner engineering program there.
So how was it for you, the 7-day program?
Okay, yeah, I was very young and I was like, I had this misconception that after doing inner engineering, suddenly something will happen and I'll get enlightened. So that way it didn't reach my expectations. Yeah, but it was a very nice program. The Kriya was good. I felt more energy after doing it. It was nice, but I still had my sinus. I had some sinusitis issue, so I had like blocked nostrils most of the time, and used to have a lot of cold and all that. So initially doing Shambhavi was like little difficult for me. Every time like I have to make sure my nostrils are clear, but just with a little climate change and everything, I had this issue. But after a few months, I took the Surya Kriya program. I did Surya Kriya. And after doing Surya Kriya, my Shambhavi experience totally exploded. It was amazing. That was when really started experiencing meditativeness, like proper meditativeness for the first time. And yeah, after that, there is no looking back. Surya Kriya has cleared up the sinuses and, has like completely taken away that problem from me. Just in few weeks of practices, that was really gone. And after that, doing Surya Kriya and Shambhavi has become a very powerful experience for me. Yeah.
Wonderful. So that is when you wanted to do the Hatha Yoga teacher training because of the Surya Kriya program that you did. Seeing to the teacher, you felt like this is what I want to give to people and do it.
No, by then I didn't do the Surya Kriya program yet. Um, I did inner engineering only. I didn't do Surya Kriya program yet, but I visited ashram once. Yeah, after inner engineering, I visited ashram for Panchbhuta Aradhana, I went for Jnanalinga, Devi Temple, and all those things. And those have also been a very beautiful. Yeah, just like, yeah, just being in ashram and getting trained for 6 months, and somehow that itself was like so motivating. And yeah, I just wanted to go for it. Yeah.
It is wonderful that like people usually now doing yoga as a part of an exercise. It is much more than that. Because I feel like, yeah, definitely your sinus will go away, your different elements will go away, but it will give much more than that as well. It is not limited to the just an advantages of the practices. That will definitely will come and people will come first for that only. But I think the classical Hatha Yoga has so much to offer than the different types of benefits that you get out of the practices. As you said, one of the benefit that you felt was like your sinus just gone away with a few weeks of practice of Surya. So you were facing this cold or sinus problem like throughout your childhood and your, that was an issue for you, or how was
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
It was a chronic one, means.
It was there throughout my childhood. I tried homeopathy, I tried different English medicines, I tried everything, but it was never a permanent solution. It was there all my childhood was there. Even with a little climate change, yeah, I used to have a running nose. Just staying in Bangalore itself, I used to have running nose most of the time. Even some rain, it becomes a little cold. Just a little bit of cold. Even if I eat some ice cream or something, gone. Running nose all the time. Yeah, it was bothering me. Yeah, it's not like really bad, but yeah, definitely, it was bothering me. Like able to breathe fully is something like very very important. Yeah.
So you said that in the Bangalore, then you did your Surya Kriya class after you gone to the ashram. So how was your experience of the ashram for the first time when you went? Like different, like how was your experience of Dhanalinga, then Devi, and other the overall, ashram ambience and everything. Chandrakund.
It was nice. It was very, yeah. First of all, I was really amazed with the architecture, you know, with the
Beautiful.
architecture, the kind of aesthetics and the kind of ambience. I was really amazed with that. And Dhyanlinga and Devi Gudi both were nice, very calming experience. But at that time, it was not like really something ecstatic or mind blowing or like very deeply meditative experience for me. I maybe myself I was not so you know
Receptive.
prepared or receptive or so perceptive to really experience Jnanalinga and Devi like I experienced now or during the training at that time. Yeah, but it was a good experience.
What about the Isha people, Isha volunteers, when you see them? I think I moved more than the Devi temple for because I'm not that receptive because I was so new to this. My body, I think, is not ready to experience. It is there, but it is not reaching me. But like seeing people, it was something very different for me. Just namaskar. This thing actually touched me so much. And keeping the chappals in sequence in the line, I think these are the two most things that touched me more than the training, more than initially the engineering training or even the temple experience. I feel like because of the people, I felt like, oh my God, this is something, because people are behaving like this, they're just going down to yours, and I felt really amazed with it. How was it for you, like the teachers, the people, Isha volunteers, and
When I just visited ashram, I went for Panchabhuta Aradhana first time. So I was actually, um, I felt like really great about how, the brahmacharis and, how they were doing all those things and how they're arranging all those stuff. That felt like really big and huge for me. Like, how the whole process was taken care of, like how it was done. It's, so many things have to happen, so much work needs to be done to for even that it was not for a long time, maybe it was a half an hour process or something. Even for that duration, all the things that happened in Janlinga and all the things that they did, that itself felt like it was a lot of effort and a lot of work has been done. That way it was amazing for me. But like you said, the way people were and how the volunteers were doing it, it really touched me when I did the Bhavaspandana program. That is when even the teacher in Power Spandana and how the volunteers were working and how everything was set up, how the food was served and all those things, they really moved me when I did the Power Spandana program. Yeah. That I'm not so those things I didn't really get to experience much when I just when I did the Power Spandana program, those things were really moved the people and the way they are. Yeah.
so when did you did Bhavasvandana?
Power Spandana, I think Just before I did Surya Kriya, I think I did the Bhavas.
How was your experience of that? Since you told about the volunteers, but now how is your personal experience of Bhavas Vandana?
Yeah. Personally, yes, yeah. So, like I said, as a child, I was very introvertish, like a very introvert, very shy person, and all that. After Bhavas Spandana, something really opened up in me. Like it was the first time that I, started simply smiling and laughing for no reason, just by myself, just by my own nature, simply smiling and laughing, just bursting with smile, just like that, so naturally, not a fake smile. Like this, you have to greet someone. Let's say, till then, if you have to greet someone, it's just a formality where you smile at someone or all those things, say hi or something like that. But after Bhavaspanda, it's the first time that I experienced, I was simply smiling and laughing for no reason. Like I was literally like just looking around, looking at people, I just felt like, going and hugging them just like a random people. Like, just greeting them and like, hi, 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 like that kind of thing. So much, um, you know, just so
Connect.
much looking at random people and things like, just for no reason. I was just like bursting. That happened to me after Bhavaspandana, but it was not like a permanent thing. It lasted for a few days, for a few weeks. It was there after Bhaspanda. I had that, blasting experience. Like not like 24 hours, but for a few days after Bhaspanda, I had like that experience for 24 hours, I should say. Like I was so like opened up. Um, yeah, but it didn't persist for a longer time after that. But just keeping up my sadhana later on, like as I kept up my sadhana, I had that experience again, but it was not like very permanent experience, like on and off, on and off. I had that experience as I kept up my sadhana. But just a few days after Bhavasmana, it was like all mind blowing, like, so exciting. It was, yeah, that's the experience I had after Bhavasmana. It's the same experience again. It happened and it lasted for a longer time after teacher training, I should say. Yeah. Same kind of experience. Like, I think, yeah, it lasted for it. It became very much a part of my life. That kind of experience became very part of my life after teacher training in a very permanent way, I should say. Not like, just like how Bhavs it lasts only for a few days. But during teacher training, the kind of sadhana we did, like in the morning, few hours in the morning, few hours in the evening, and every day, like there is no weekday, weekend, like, on and on and on in such kind of ambience. So that became a kind of permanent thing for me. Yeah.
Definitely. So then after marriage, after like 1 2 years, that you shared with your husband that I want to pursue this, and then you applied for 2019 the Hatha Yoga teacher training. So how was that? Did it was very difficult for you to convince him and then come, or it was like okay and easy for you? How was that?
Yeah, it was definitely not easy to, people have their own fears. They have their own social fears, and someone who never went to ashram or never took any Isha course or never understood what, spirituality or what all this about, who had no idea, um, to convince them and to make them understand. Many people think that, if you do yoga, people have this misconception that you won't be in family life anymore, or, something you'll become a saint or something, you'll go somewhere, and, they're not fit for family life anymore. All these misconceptions are there for them, even for family, my parents, husband. So everyone had this kind of misconceptions too. So to help them understand, like it's not something like that, and you know, it's something which will help you be a much better person with people around you, makes you a more joyful person, more blissful person, and you know that it's not that way. To help them understand and convince them, it was not easy, definitely not easy. it took me some time to help him understand that, and then I also encouraged him to do a Hatha Yoga program, like he did Angamardana, to help him understand how the class is, to at least give him an experience of how Isha programs are and what it is and all that. Yeah, it was not easy. I wouldn't say that they were convinced completely, but at some point he felt that he wants me to be happy and not regret not going for something that I really wanted to do at later part. So yeah, that was really sweet of him to, even though he did have a complete understanding, but still to make sure that my dream is fulfilled, and he wanted to me to be happy and make sure that I don't regret later or I don't feel bad that I missed something in my life. So he, yeah, let me go. Yeah, but after training and after people visited our ashram, my in-laws and parents of the visited ashram, and they had a better idea after the training, all their fears and all went down, and yeah, the they got convinced and they were much happier after I finished my training.
So I think I firsthand I have seen how, like, because we were roommates. So now when you came to the training, and then I said, like, I was very okay to have any NRI or any, other than Indian people. I wanted to stay with other culture people, or something. There was a form, right, in which you have to fill if you are okay with, I have ticked everything because I really wanted to explore, like, because it's very different if other cultures people are there. But you were Indian and I was also Indian, but you were in the foreign, but that's okay. And then we stayed together. So I know how much hard working. I've never seen so much of hard work somebody doing that you were doing. I have experienced this firsthand. I think crazy. She used to sleep only for 2, 3 hours. I think in the whole training, and I think you were such a passionate about the whole process and the training, and I think that has given me so much inspiration during the training. And when also I listened to your story as well about how did you wrote a letter for the first time and you did this, and I like, what did I deserve to come here, because I did not did that much convincing or doing something. Definitely I had my challenges when I did that, but I felt like amazing, the way you put an effort for coming for the Hatha Yoga teacher training. So so when you came to the training, how was it for you, the whole thing? The overall, like, how was the training for you? It is so intense, we know that. Like, how was it for you?
For me, training, actually, actually, I was also inspired by you. It was definitely a mutual thing. And I think it was a very healthy competition, like, like it was a very mutual thing, like the way, like, if not for you, maybe I would have gone to Tindukund every day, and the way we used that time to visit the temples and going to Tindukund and all those things, being, doing our sadhana, like not, skipping any of our practices, doing the best we can, and, preparing and training ourselves to teach whenever we had like every possible time and all that. Like, yeah, yeah. Like so much gratitude for being my roommate, and yeah, you are also very. I think it is a two-way thing,
Yeah.
definitely. Two-way thing. Yeah, looking at you, sometimes I'm inspired. Looking at me, you are inspired, and like, it was definitely a mutual thing. And how training was for me, I think that was the training was the first time like I really used my 24 hours like minute by minute. Like it is really the time when every minute literally mattered. Like that was like very big thing for me during the training. Like um you know like before training I used to spend even hours and so much time not even realizing the time is passing by, like just doing something randomly and watching TV or something, this or that, just doing something randomly, just going for work, doing things. But training was a time when I really understood the importance of time, like how every minute, every second is so valuable, and you can so make use of it, like for your growth. Like every minute, every second can be really used for you to grow and become a better person. That that possibility I could explore in the training, like be it the ambience and the way everything was taken care of. I mean, our food and all other things are really taken care of so well that we could really just focus on our growth, just focus on our growth, like focus on our sadhana, focus on how to teach, and just those things, like just on our personal growth, like that. Even the ambience was so conducive for that. So yeah, that was training for me, just like you know becoming a better person. Yeah, just growing in every possible way. That was training for me. Yeah, like the way they set up the schedule, and everything was. And even I had, like I said, I had to go through a lot of um, I had to go through a lot of emotions, and had really it was had really hard time convincing everyone, had to go through a lot. And it was a very long time passion for me to go through the training. So unknowingly, that I knew that every minute of my training is very valuable for me. Like I know that this period is not going to come back again, and um, I know what it took. Like my husband, he had to like stay alone for 6 months here, and my parents and in-laws, and they had to it was hard for them to send me into the training, but still, they let me go at the end of the day. They let me go. So I all of that was very valuable for me, and I know that um, you know I am doing all, and like in spite of all this, I'm doing it. So I have to really make use of it. I'm even giving my husband is also staying alone for me to have this experience through the training. So I felt it's very important for me to make use of it and not waste even a bit of it. Yeah.
What was the hardest part during the training, and what you enjoyed the most in the training?
The training. This part was there was a point in the training when I felt like after a few months, this is always there with me. Like when I start off something, I start off with a lot of passion, but after few days or like after a few months, I start my passion starts coming down little bit. Uh, so during the training also there was a point mid training or sometime that doing the practices every day, doing the same practices every day again and again, it felt like, oh my God, I have to do the same practice again. But, even in a video, Sadhguru said that it takes some time for you to actually experience the benefits, like, really get the benefits, proper benefits of the practices. It takes some time. So, especially the first 6 months duration after we learn the practices, the first 6 months is very important. There'll be many instances in the first 6 months where we feel like giving up, and your mind says, okay, enough, I've had it. Your body says, okay, I got it. So at that time, that is when like hatha really comes into place. Hatha means like being adamant. Even if your body and mind are saying no, you're still adamant and you simply do it. So that 6 months period, initial 6 month period is like really important. Once after you finish that 6 months period, you really know the benefits. And even if someone says give up your sadhana, there is no way you're not going to give up. Like you really understand the importance, and you really understand what it is, how the transformation happens in 6 months. So there was a period in between, like after 2 or 3 months, when I felt like oh my God, I have to do this practice again, like so. There was a time when I felt like that, but we had no choice. Right? We had no choice, and there was so much motivation. So many people were doing along with us. There was so much motivation. There were teachers were there to support us, and everything was there. So much support was there around us. So yeah, kept going. yeah, that was, yeah, after some point, yeah, that was there. But yeah, because but with teachers' support, with the volunteers' support, and everything being so perfectly set up for us, and that I was able to go through it and still do keep up my sadhana so well for all the entire duration of the 6 months without giving up even a single day. Going for it. And, yeah.
What is most you enjoyed during the training? Like, what was the most enjoyable part for you?
Sadhguru's videos.
Hmm.
Mm. Yeah. That is the most enjoyable part for me. Sadhguru's videos and definitely chanting people. Guru Puja, learning Guru Puja was a fantastic experience.
Yeah, I think we were very lucky batch. Yeah.
Yeah. Learning Guru Puja and every day Sadhguru's videos. Yeah, that was amazing. Sadhguru's videos not just as some information, but just being in that Adiyogi Alayam, being in that ambience and just looking at Sadhguru, like just have his presence in the video itself, just in a video, not even the live presence, just his presence in the video itself was a totally ecstatic experience for me.
So I remember that our room was like facing to the Adiyogi Alayam only. We can see from our from our window that we could or when we open the door we can see the Adiyogi Alayam. We were staying so close to it, but we got a chance to sleep for 15 days in the Adiyogi Alayam. So, do you want to share the experience? Like, how was it for you? Like sleeping for 15 days inside the, Adiyogi Alayam. So, we used to spend like a lot of time, or we can say like most of our time we used to spend there because 4 hours practice in morning, 4 hours in evening, and even our rest of the things like lectures and everything used to happen at the same ambience. But I think we used to spend like 10, 12 hours definitely. But now we used to sleep also there. So how was that experience for you, sleeping in Adi Yogi Alayam?
You're just reminding me every beautiful experience of teacher training. You asked me the best part that as you're telling, I feel like, oh my God, that was the best part. That was the best. So, I think, like, everything about the training is just like, even if I think about it, my whole body is vibrating. Like, oh my God, sleeping in Adi Yogi Alayam. Yeah, that was a fantastic sleep. Like, yeah, when we were sleeping in our room, waking up in the morning was not very easy. We have to like push ourselves a little bit to wake up in the morning. Sometimes like 10 more minutes, we have to sleep for 10 more minutes. That was happening. But when I was sleeping in the Adiyogi Alayam, waking up was like I was so completely up at 3 a.m., 3:30 a.m., just like that I used to be up. It's not like that I was sleeping early in the night. Even if I slept at 11, 11:30 sometimes, you know, there was work and like 11, 11:30, even if I was sleeping late, 3:30 a.m. in the morning, I was like totally full up and like just like there. The sleep was so amazing in the Adhyaram. Yeah, for those few days. Like waking up was just it just happened so well. Yeah. And that was the time that I could, wake up in the morning and then go, there was so many flowers like in the ashram, so many trees, and we were asked only to take the flowers that are, fallen down and never pluck a flower. And even that was a beautiful experience, like, a small child who goes around looking for pebbles, that kind of experience going around in the ashram in the morning and looking for all nice flowers, beautiful flowers that have fallen, going around different places, exploring, getting flowers, and doing Devi Puja in the morning, even before coming. So, yeah, it was so beautiful. Yeah, during that time.
Yeah, I still remember like because of you only I also got interested into that. And one day I used to go, one day you used to go to pick the flowers afterwards. And I'll share the photo also in our room, how we used to decorate. I have taken one photo just to remember it. And it was crazy. We used to pick like 50 flowers or more than that sometimes, and it was
Yeah,
like the whole place used to be covered with flowers, and it was amazing.
yeah,
Uh,
even yeah, even for getting flowers for Guru Puja, Sadhguru
yeah.
sometimes. Just going around, just like little kids, like wandering, collecting different things, going around, walking in different places. And I completely took off my chappals during the 6 months. I didn't use them
Yeah,
at
I
all.
do.
Just walking barefoot, experiencing the mud, walking barefoot in the ashram, like nothing really mattered. Even if my foot are getting hurt or some scratches, and it didn't really matter. It was so enjoyable, just walking barefoot, going around, plucking different flowers and all that early in the morning. Not plucking, sorry, I mean picking different flowers. Yeah, it was yeah, yeah, it was so nice. It was a beautiful experience. Yeah.
Uh, she, as you said that you were very good dancer, and I was able to witness it. So we had a different cultural program during the training, and showing the talent and that. And she performed with one more Hatha Yoga teacher, Mani. She was also a very good friend of us, and then they both performed a classical dance, and it was a treat to watch. They were looking so beautiful. I'll share the pictures of that also. And I think it was a treat to see that. I know that you have danced and you have shown me some videos also. Like, see, this is a video, and that I've seen that, and but seeing it live, it was a very beautiful experience. I think you dance very well. So, yeah, and also I remember the trips we went on together, and it was very nice going on the trips. And I think the overall training was amazing. It is very transforming and amazing at the same time. What were you, the teachers? How was the teachers for you? Like, definitely, like they have a great impact on us, and they have given their life to us to serve. So, how was for you the teachers?
Um, yeah, teachers, they definitely like the way they involved themselves and they gave completely to their only intention was to see us grow and nothing else. Like they really, gave themselves to make sure that the transformation happens in us. And yeah, that was definitely something so inspiring. And I think I think even after training, um, when I'm teaching classes, how to teach and how I'm able to give myself to make sure that they learn the practices properly. The inspiration is totally drawn from the teachers, I should say. Yeah, the way they treated us during the training really helped me. Was really inspiring, and that's what really made me the teacher I am today. The way I am teaching the classes, it was totally influenced by them. The way they took the classes, the way they took care of us, the way they gave themselves, each and every teacher, like each and every person in the hall, each and every teacher, the way they treated us, the way they gave themselves to make it happen. Yeah, that is the inspiration for me to, the way I am in my classes today, or how I take up classes or how I teach. Yeah, they are the total motivation behind that. And it's not just that, like I said, like I came for the training for 6 months. I went through a lot to come for the training, and I even decided to, give up my job and everything, give up my job to come for the training. Um, but I did it for my own. Like I know I wanted to share the tools, but still, it is something for myself. I did it for myself, like for my own personal growth, for me to get an opportunity to teach these tools. Like, but the teachers, they just even they had like such crazy stories, like how like they didn't even come for their training, they came to just help us, they just came to volunteer. Like even they had their own commitments, they had their own life, but still they took that break, and they took that time out of their valuable life to come and help us. And to make sure something happens to us, just for us, that itself was, yeah, that itself, like, I had no words to, express my gratitude for them. Yeah.
This was very amazing for me. Like when I applied for the training and everything happened, and then I went there. I thought like teacher would be get paid, right? Like that is the normal concept like we have. Like they will get paid. But then after like some time when we went in the training, we came to know obviously nobody is get paid for their job. In the ashram, everybody is doing a volunteering, so that it is called as volunteering and not an you're getting earned out of it. So that was very amazed for me like, because now I can understand like what you get out of it or whatever. It is more than the money part, but that was very because who will do that, Yeah, if we will share with our friends or somebody, they will not able to comprehend it. It like somebody will just coming and not sleeping, not doing anything, and just doing something for other person. If we'll tell that idea or we'll if we share that with someone, they will. I don't think they would be able to, understand it. Like why are someone would do that? So I think like hats off to our teachers, like what they did for us, and I think the Isha volunteers in like what they do, they are so much committed. Uh, so so when Sadhguru visited us like 2 times, right? So how was your experience? Like first time he came and then after also at last day. So how was that for you?
Um, yeah, Sadhguru, yeah, when Sadhguru came, it was all of us were so excited, and like seeing him so close as well, like very first time. Yeah. But for me, like, yeah, when he came, when I came to know that he was coming, like, I was very shy. I don't know. I was very shy. I just wanted to hide somewhere. I really didn't have the courage or anything to even look at him. Or, yeah, I was very shy. I didn't even have the courage to even look at him. Or, eh, yeah, he is very, I don't know him as a person that much. Like, no experience, never talked to him. I don't know him as a person at all. But it's like a huge experience for me. He's like Janlinga for me. So just being in his presence is, yeah, something for me. But as a person, I don't know him much. But yeah, there is this feeling of guru. Like, it's like very huge. Just like it's a very huge thing. It's like, yeah, it's life, and he's very huge experience. So I was really shy, and yeah, 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 it's just there, just like I was sitting in Dhyanlinga. Yeah, it's just like that. Yeah, and when he touched the lotus flowers, and when they gave it to us, it was definitely a um, very emotional thing. Yeah, yeah, it was
I
very
think it
emotional.
was a very emotional day for everyone. Yeah, the last day.
Just giving the flower, just realizing that you're gonna go out and teach. You're actually gonna go out and teach, and you're able to go through the training. Just like it was a very huge achievement, but I don't even want to call it as achievement. But it was a very huge thing. Like, yeah, yeah, yeah. It was so much gratitude, and it was very emotional. Yeah.
So once you completed and then came back, uh, like so, you did not thought of joining again the IT profession or whatever job you were doing. So you continued and you said that I want to teach. This is what I want to do now. So how was that experience for you?
Actually, after I came back, I joined back again. Like, I
Oh,
started working again. I went back to work. it's after a few months of working that I became a full-time teacher. I went back to work because at least I told my manager that I'll come back. I went back for my manager because he gave me this break. So I went back. I started working again, and I used to teach on weekends while I was working. But yeah, I was also so much into dance. I wanted to keep dancing too. So time was not completely working for me, like going to work, dance, doing my practices, and again teaching yoga on weekends. Yeah, yeah, teaching was a very beautiful and fulfilling experience. I would like to have that every single day. I would like to have that. That was a beautiful experience. That was one reason. And then I also wanted to give more time for my dance. So yeah, and also um, yeah, I also had the necessary support from my husband, financial support or other kind of support for me to pursue dance and continue teaching. So I felt like maybe it's time I can give up my work. I can stop working and focus more on this.
So how is so currently? So you have a website where people can go and check out like the programs or like that.
Um, I'm planning to start my own studio soon, but till now I was working for Namaskaram Yoga here.
Okay, so
I'll
that's a
start soon. Yeah. Uh, so there was another Hatha Yoga teacher. He has his own studio, Namaskaram Yoga, in Bay Area here. But he's not in Bay Area currently. He's pursuing school in London. So yeah, he's been organizing classes and I've been teaching for him.
okay.
Yeah.
So currently now we can go to the so you can share me that website or wherever so that I can share with people if they want to apply for the class, then they can go there and see what are the upcoming classes and
Yeah. Actually, you can take my contact because I'm gonna start my own website soon. My studio name will be Yoga Nivedana. It'll be yoganivedana.com. I'm it's gonna come up soon. Until then, like anyone can contact me. You can share my email ID, my phone number. Anyone wants to can contact me directly.
so what currently you're doing, like what type of classes you're taking? I know that you have taken like 21 days program. So for the general public who don't know about it, is like 20 days program is what we something offer, like in which we teach everything, a classical hatha yoga, the whole course, like whatever things we can offer as a teacher. I think that is it covered fully in 21 days. So in 21 days you will be able to learn all the practices being offered by Isha Hatha Yoga. So do you want to share your experience? How was it for you conducting? I think you have conducted like 21 days program till now, right? So how was that?
Programs till now.
How
Just
many?
third one recently. Yeah.
How many? Sorry, I did not get that. How many?
Three. Finished
Three.
three.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Um, yeah, 21-day program is again very touching experience. Uh, you know, so usually in workshops, what happens? You teach people, you teach the practices, and then they go back home and they do their practices, and sometimes they come for review classes and for corrections. But in 21-day program, you're teaching them and guiding their practices at the same time. So you see how their practices are, changing day by day, like how they're getting into more ease with the practices and how they're enjoying them day by day. And that is a very touching experience. Like you're teaching them and at the same time guiding them through their practices. And it also goes in a very smooth and nice pace. Sometimes in workshops, not everyone like those who doing it for the first time, doing the any hatha yoga or doing yoga for the first time. Sometimes the body takes some time to get used to it, so they struggle a little bit to, especially practices like Angamadana and Yogasanas. They find it a little difficult to do it for the first time. Their body doesn't cooperate like very well. So this workshop feels like a short time, you know, um, just like 4 sessions over a weekend or 2 sessions over a weekend. Like workshop feels like a shorter time. Like they just learn the practice and they have to go back and keep up the practice in order for the body to get used to it and to actually start experiencing the benefits. But in a 21-day program, it's different. You make them do the practices in a proper pace, and after they do certain practices, at the last, when they're learning Angamardana, they really see how their body has changed. Even in this, short duration of like 12 days or something, they see how their body has changed and how they're able to learn Angamardana in a much better way. How the flexibility and everything is changing. So that way, I feel like 21 program is like from the way the participants are taking the practices and experiencing it that way, it's really nice compared to a workshop, what I feel. And also with the 21-day programs, I had the opportunity to start with classes with Guru Puja every day. So that is also a very beautiful experience, both for the participants and for myself. It's a very beautiful experience to start the class with Guru Puja. And it happened like after the second 2020 program, even participants were asking, we're missing the Guru Puja every day. Is there any way we can, do it? Is there any way we can learn it and then start our practices? Like after the program, they were really missing the Guru Puja. Yeah, that way it was really nice. And we also started doing neem and turmeric balls for them. The 20-day program, every day morning before the practice, we give them like mild lace, honey water, and neem and turmeric balls. I did that for my first and second programs at least. For third program, due to various reasons, that couldn't happen. But for the first and second 20-day program, we were doing that. Yeah, that was also really nice. Making those neem and turmeric balls for them and giving them every day morning. Yeah, like even during a training, the balls used to be like ready for us. Like for so many people, for 150 people, they used to make neem and turmeric balls and that honey water for us, like every day morning. Back then, really, I didn't realize how much effort goes into it. I didn't really realize. I thought, okay, neem ball, turmeric ball, we used to be said, like everything is like a schedule, and we used to like quickly come, take the balls, and go for a sadhana. But when I was making, I really realized what it takes. Like you have to make those balls perfectly, and what it takes. Like even to make like some 16 balls or something like that. Like I could only imagine like what it took for them to take 150 balls. Like even turmeric balls. Like yeah. Like, then I realized like, oh my God, like so much effort they would have put, like to give us every day. Yeah.
Even in this pandemic, how was it for you, overall keeping up with your practices? And it is a very hard time for overall for everyone. I think we finished our training in December, and from March the lockdown has started. So how
Yeah.
was it for you, and then taking classes in that, and how challenging was it for you?
Um, Fortunately, I still had opportunity to do live classes even after the pandemic. But it was still challenging because we had to like kind of sanitize everything, the room and the restroom and everything. We had to sanitize everything. We had to keep the distance. It was all new, and we have to teach wearing the masks. And yeah, even to do, like I said, to give neem and turmeric balls, I have to sanitize and wear my mask and do everything. Be so careful and be conscious of everything that you're doing. Yeah, that way, it definitely had to put a lot of effort and more time into doing it during the pandemic. And it was, yeah, when the pandemic just started, initially there was also so much dilemma, like, should we even go for it? Should we even take a class, or should we? Because we never canceled a single class, after we decide to go for it. Just before the pandemic, we scheduled the 21-day program, and it was so hard for us to decide. There was so much dilemma. Should we even go for it? Like, what should we do? But fortunately, with the support of all the other teachers here. They gave me the opportunity to do it, and the teachers were really supporting me. The other teachers here were really supporting me, and were able to, like, we bought, like, we had this expensive air filter in the room, and we maintained the distance, and we were also opening the doors and windows in a while, and we were opening and closing them, opening and closing them, like, making sure there was airflow, and wearing our masks and teaching, and sanitizing everything every day before and after the class. Yeah, that way it was a lot of effort, and it was definitely challenging to, do the programs during the pandemic. But yeah, after that, after 2020 programs, I started in-person classes in my home studio too. But here also, usually my studio fits like 6 people or something without the pandemic. But after pandemic, we had to, like, restrict it to only 2 people to keep the distance from me and distance among the participants, and to make sure, even if they're finding it hard to do the practices with the mask, sometimes some people find it hard. So even then, we want to make sure that there is a distance and they're not facing each other at all when they're doing the practices, so that even if they take off their mask for a while, it's okay. Yeah, so those challenges were definitely there. But online classes was again a very new and different experience during the pandemic. First time the opportunity opened up to do online class. Yeah, online class, I could reach out to people whom I thought that I could never reach. Like, not never reach, but I thought, like, my parents were back in India, and there were other people who were back in India, and I was here. I don't know when I will again get, like, really get a chance to teach them or introduce these practices to them. But through online classes, I was able to do that, at least teach some, the limited practices and meditations that we could teach. And online classes, I took, like, continuously for 40 days. So, like, I did like a 40-day sadhana online class where every day, they can log in and continue doing their practices and keep up the practices for 40 days continuously. And that help some people to, stay committed and motivated to do the practice every day. Yeah, that was uh, my experience during pandemic. Yeah.
So, what is Sadhguru for you, if you want to sum up?
Sadhguru is an experience. Yeah, Sadhguru is a presence. Mm. Uh, he's a presence all time. He's a 24-hour presence for me. He's an experience. He's a presence. That's all I can say. If I close my eyes, he's a presence for me. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah. He's an experience and he's a presence, and yeah, he's something that first time I could experience beyond physical. Not experiencing someone as a person, or as a bunch of ideas, or something, a bunch of thoughts or ideas as a person, not as a person, but first time I could experience someone as a presence or an experience, not just as a person. That is a good one. Yeah.
So I think you have your Instagram and Facebook also, like where you are actively posting like whatever you are conducting or something. If somebody has to, if you can share your handles as well, then that would be helpful if somebody has to contact you.
Right now, no, because I was teaching for Namaskaram Yoga all the way till now. It was pandemic also, so I was kept teaching the classes he was organizing and hosting. But near future, once I put up my website, I'll be, creating my Facebook and Instagram accounts too. Till then, yeah, just please share my contact.
Okay. I think it was wonderful talking to you. I think it was very pleasant experience you staying with you during the training for 5 months and sharing a room with you. And today talking to you, and I came to know so much. Even though we talked a lot, we used to share to each other, but so many new things I came to know about you and your wonderful journey. And you're so committed. I know that firsthand, staying with you. And now also you're taking so many classes and doing it. It's wonderful. It's so inspiring. So thank you so much for coming and sharing your journey with us. Thank you so much. Namaskaram.
Thank you so much for doing this, Payal. Thank you. Namaskaram.